Hi, this is Dr. Bitla Venu coming before you to discuss in continuation to the previous contents. Today, I would like to discuss MRP2, ERP, and SAP. Let me move on to the previous contents, what we have discussed in our previous class. In the previous class, we have discussed integrated CAD/CAM organization, in which we have seen contents. We have seen necessity of CAD/CAM integration. Along with that, we have also seen the advantages, disadvantages of integrated CAD/CAM organization. After that, we had seen computer integrated production system, in which we have seen concept of CIPS. We have discussed PPC, and we have discussed features and advantages. Limitations of CIPS also we have seen in our previous session. We have also seen MRP1, material requirement planning, in which we have covered concept, objectives. We have seen the advantages, limitations of MRP along with the diagram. Let me move on to the today's session contents. So these are the objectives of today's session. So let me take a pointer to explain. So the objective of today's slideshow is to discuss manufacturing resource planning. This is evolved from MRP1, in which we will cover introduction. We will see the typical overview of MRP2 with a typical overview diagram. Then we will discuss the advantages, applications, and limitations of manufacturing resource planning. After this, we will see enterprise resource planning, ERP. We will see the concept of ERP, functions we will see, advantages, disadvantages. I hope that we are going to cover the applications also in this content. Then we will see the SAP overview and its advantages also we will see along with this content. When it comes to the manufacturing resource planning, in brief you can call it as MRP2. It is basically a computer based system. Any of the concept is using computer means it is having a software. That means that is going to use one software. It is a computer based system means it is a software for planning, scheduling, and control the materials, resources, and supporting activities involved in any of the manufacturing industry needed to meet the master production schedule. I repeat this once again. It is a computer based system or a software to plan, schedule, and control the materials, resources, and supporting activities needed to meet the master production schedule. MRP2 is designed to centralize, integrate, and process the information. We have a huge amount of data in the industry, which may be process data, which may be design data, which may be inventory data, a lot of information, which may be financial data or any other information is stored at some place. In the case of MRP2, the main purpose of this MRP2 is design. MRP2 is to centralize, integrate, and process all the information. Centralizing means keeping all the information at one location. Then this information is integrated with all the activities in any of the industry. Then that information will be processed to achieve for effective decision or for effective decision making or scheduling. I mean, this process information is used for taking effective decision while scheduling. All the information in the company or in any of the manufacturing industries located at one place. It is centralized. That means we are centralizing all the information, and that information is integrated with all the activities, business activities of the company. Then that information is processed to take the decisions. Example you take while scheduling, that processed information is used. Then it is also, the processed information is also used in design engineering, and it also used for inventory management and also for the controlling cost in manufacturing. So these are all the applications of the processed information, which may be for the scheduling, maybe for the design engineering, maybe for the inventory management, maybe for the cost control. We are keeping the information at a certain place. We are centralizing all the information. We are keeping all the information at one location, then integrating all the business activities with that centralized data, and that information is processed for different activities like taking the decision while scheduling. Even that processed information can also be used in design engineering, may be used in inventory management, may be used in cost control of the manufacturing. This MRP2 is evolved from MRP1. MRP1 is having some disadvantages because that MRP1 is not going to address certain issues, like it is not going to consider the dynamic demand of the market. I mean, the forecasting of the market, it is not going to consider while taking the decision. And it is also not going to consider the financial aspect. These two are the important activities, are the information this MRP1 is not going to address. So that this, to address those defects of MRP1, MRP1 focuses mainly to measure the raw material used in production and scheduling. The MRP1 is mainly focused on the raw material and its production scheduling. To address the disadvantages or the defects of the MRP1, MRP2 is evolved by adding additional information such as employee data and also the financial information. That means MRP2 is evolved from MRP1, adding some information data which is not added, which is not considered in MRP1. MRP2 is a computer-based system. As I said just now, MRP2 is a computer-based system or as a software which can create the detailed production schedules by considering the real-time data. MRP2 is going to consider the real-time data such as finance, marketing, demand, and manufacturing while taking any of the decision in the manufacturing company. It also coordinates with the materials to arrive, machines to be used, and also the labor activity of the industry. MRP2 is a software or a computer-based system. This can create a detailed production schedules. This can be used to create the detailed production schedules by considering the real-time data such as finance, then marketing data, demand, market demand, and manufacturing data. It also coordinates with the materials to arrive. It also considers the machines to be used and labor availability. These are all the information considered in MRP2 while taking the decisions on the schedules, while creating the schedules. MRP2 system looks into other variables, the production, such as the production process, manpower requirement, business planning, analysis module, financial estimates, demand forecasts, and schedules, which were not offered by MRP1. As I said just now, MRP2 is evolved from MRP1, which were not addressed some aspects. Those aspects are considered in MRP2. So those aspects, those points, those information is manpower requirement, business planning, analysis module, financial estimates, demand forecast, and schedules. When it comes to the overview of MRP2, this information helps for tracking tools to give accurate results and projections for more efficient decision making strategy. While taking decision, the real-time information, I mean this MRP2 is going to track the accurate results and projections while taking decision for making a strategy. You have a strategy to achieve your target. To achieve that target, we need to take a decision. So while taking the decision, we need to consider, or we need to depend on the accurate data. So this accurate data we can take from MRP2. This MRP2 covers rough cut capacity planning, RCCP. Rough cut capacity planning means it is the process of converting MPS into requirements of key resources such as direct labor and machine time. In MRP1, we don't have rough cut capacity planning, RCCP. This is an add-on for MRP1. The function of this MRP1 or the objective of RCCP is to process of converting MPS. MPS means master production schedules into the requirements of key resources. That means this rough cut capacity planning is going to transform MPS, master production schedules, into the key resources such as the direct labor and machine time. I repeat this once again. Rough capacity planning objective is to transform or convert MPS into the requirements of the key resources such as direct labor and machine time. Let us discuss all these terminology using an overview diagram. As I said just now, MRP2 is evolved from MRP1. As you can see, it is having two structures. One is MRP1, you can see here, material resource requirement planning. Then you have the MRP2, manufacturing resource planning. This diagram is specifically related to the MRP2. This is our MRP1, we are already discussed. This MRP1 is integrated to MRP2. I mean, MRP2 means the MRP1, I mean, the additional information which are not addressed in the case of MRP1 is considered in this MRP2, manufacturing resource planning. As we have seen in our last session, MRP1, the inputs to the MRP1 is master production schedule. By taking MPS, the MRP1 is going to give us capacity planning. Capacity planning includes the forecasting. I mean, this report, MRP1 is going to give us some report whether the manufacturing industry is having capability to meet the demands or not. It receives the orders, it also reschedules the orders, it also it also generates the reports as per the demand of the markets. That is called the capacity planning. In brief, you can say that capacity planning is going to assess the market demand. It is going to generate the reports to assess the market demand by placing the orders, by rescheduling the orders. So this information, this capacity planning information is correct. If this is correct, if it is having any problems, if this capacity planning is having any problems, if it is having any problems, it will go back, it will readjust the MPS. Again, it will be processed. If there is any problem in capacity planning, those reports was resent to the master production schedule and it will be processed. If there is no problem, then the information of the capacity planning will become input to the MRP2. MRP1 will be the input to the MRP2. Along with that, the additional information considered in the case of MRP2 manufacturing resource planning is finance data, marketing data, then market demand, market forecast, then manufacturing information. As I said just now, these information is not input. These are not inputs to the MRP1, as you can observe in this figure. MRP2 is going to consider the additional data which is not considered in MRP1. That material, those information is marketing, finance, market demand, and the manufacturing information. Exactly, if you have any problem, if you don't have any problem, so this will become your production plan of the MRP2. This production plan, the output of this MRP1 will become the production plan. This production plan is going to consider the additional information such as marketing, finance, market demand, and manufacturing information. After that, it is going to consider rough cut capacity planning. As we have seen, the rough cut capacity planning is the process of converting MPS, master production schedules, into the requirements of the key resources for the manufacturing, such as direct labor and machine time. The outputs of this rough cut capacity planning is direct labor and machine time. So if there is any problem, it will go back and it will adjust the plan, production plan. Again, it will take the input and it will readjust the production plan. If there is any problem, again it will go back to the MRP1, it will reprocess the data. Again, it will give us production plan. Again, the production plan is going to consider the additional information which is not considered in MRP1. Again, this production plan gives us rough cut capacity. If there is any problem, and that will be adjusted, otherwise it will go back. This is what the overview of MRP2. Let me move on to the advantages and applications of MRP2. When it comes to the advantages of MRP2, MRP2 is having better control over the inventory. MRP2 is going to control inventories more effectively. MRP2 is also going to improve the schedules. That means the MRP2 gives us accurate schedules. MRP2 is going to meet the schedules without any deviations. That means the goods or the items or the finished goods are going to send to the customers in time. This is also going to improve the relationships with the suppliers. This is having productive relationship. This improves productive relationships with the supplier. When we implement MRP2, the organization or the manufacturing industry is having very good relationships with the suppliers. This is also for design engineering. It improves the design engineering, and if we implement MRP2, we can control the design also in a specified manner. Then this also improves the quality control. That means the products that we are getting from any of the manufacturing industry which is implementing MRP2 gives us quality products. That means this is going to control, this is also having the control over the quality, because the designs are accurate, the production schedule is accurate, and everything, if in every aspect the data is accurate, so that we will get the quality objects or the quality components. Hence we can also maintain, if the quality of the product is good, we can maintain very good relationships with the suppliers. The next advantage of MRP2 is this is also having controlling over the finance and costing. It is going to reduce working capital for the inventory. That means we can use very less capital. We can use, I mean, the inventory requirement will become less, so that the investment in the form of inventory is also less. It also improves cash flow through the quicker deliveries. That means the delivery is quick, so that we have the cash flow transaction. I mean, the cash flow transaction is more if we deliver the items and receives the orders in a fast way, so that it increases the flow of cash. It also increases the accurate implementation. Let me move on to the applications of MRP2. It is having better control over the quality control department. We can use this MRP. One of the application of this MRP is quality control, distribution management, or maybe warehouse management. Then you have the customer field service. You can use this. Warranty you can track. Marketing we can support. Supply chain management, SCM. SEM is one of the concept. The aim of this SEM is to enhance the uh, uh, enhance the uh, supplier satisfaction as well as the customer satisfaction. Then the product data management is also one software where all the data pertaining to the product will be stored. The data related to the data may also include the design data or the documentation data or the manufacturing data or the process planning data. PDM is one software which is going to store the data pertaining to the products. Then you have, this is closely related to, as I said just now, product data filling and retrieval will become very easy. It will fill the data and it can retrieve. It can also store the engineering data, means design data. It can also store the other feature related product design information, like any of the document related to the product can be stored in PDF. When it comes to the enterprise resource planning, ERP is also one of the concept which is evolved after the MRP2. MRP1 and MRP2 is having some drawbacks. During the early phases of the development, integrated solutions were designed. Those are MRP1, then MRP2, namely material management planning, then manufacturing resource planning. MRP1 and MRP2 can't provide complete solution for an optimization covering major business process areas. This MRP1 and MRP2 is not going to integrate completely of all the business process in any of the manufacturing industry. So this leads to MRP1 and MRP2 is not going to address or unify the needs of any of the manufacturing industry at one location. In the year 1990s, ERP systems addressed all the core enterprise functions. Means ERP was evolved in 1990, and this was evolved to address all the functions, core enterprise functions of any of the industry. Let me discuss the concept of ERP. ERP is defined as the ability to deliver. This is going to deliver an integrated suite of business. Integrated suite means at one location you have every solution. You will get the solutions at one location. That means you have a unique solution or the unified solution for any of the problem existing or arises in any of the organization. The ERP is going to address all the issues at one location, that is unified solution at one location, that is called ERP. So that we are calling it as integrated suite. Means this ERP is going to integrate all the business applications, all the business activities involved in any of the organization or the business organization. ERP tools share common process and data model. That means what we can call that as central database. ERP is having one central database which is used to share and as well as process that data, covering broad and deep operational end-to-end process. That means the data includes supplier to customer data, the data which is arising from the supplier to the customer, which includes the manufacturing data, uh, from the supplier to customer, who have number of business activities, manufacturing, designing, process planning, uh, uh, all these servicing and maintenance, and all these issues, all these information will be located at one place, that is called central database. So this central database will be processed, and which gives us the solution or the processed information to the any of the uh, uh, business processor requires the data, real-time data, to while taking the decision. Whenever a person wants to take any decision, we must need the accurate data, and that accurate data must be in the processed manner. That processed data can be taken from the central database of ERP. Based on that central database, processed information which is taken from the central database can be used while taking any of the decision or while taking any of the strategy. So this central database is having the information such as finance, HR, human resource, distribution data, manufacturing data, inventory, service and service, sales, distribution, and supply chain data. All this information will be located at one place, that is called central database. So based on that, let us see the MRP1, MRP2, and ERP. Initially, we have MRP1. Of course, before that, we have inventory software. Initially, any of the manufacturing industry, the maximum data involved in any of the manufacturing industry is the inventory data, the raw material data, and the finished goods data. How much amount of stock we have, how much amount of raw material we have, so that how much amount of buffer stock we are maintaining with respect to the raw material or with respect to the finished goods. So that data is called inventory data. That inventory data is, I mean, in around 1970s, inventory packages came outside. After that, MRP1, because inventory a package is not at all going to address the needs of the organization, so that MRP1 was evolved, then which is going to control the all the which is going to focus more on the material management. Then after that, this MRP1 is also not going to address the all the solutions of the business firm, so that MRP2 was evolved, manufacturing resource planning. Then this takes the input such as machine capacity, scheduling, demand forecasting, quality assurance, general accounting. Then the additional information, this MRP2 is also not going to consider all the information in any of the organization. So this ERP is going to address the data, are going to consider the data which is not considered in MRP2. That is core financial activities, that as such as general ledger, accounts receivable, and accounts payable. This core financial data. Of course, it is considering the financial data, but core financial data, this is not addressing. This MRP2 is not addressing. So this ERP is going to consider the core financial information. GL, that means general ledger information, then accounts receivable and accounts payable. That means this ERP is going minute amount of data. That means it is going inside the data and it is capturing the accurate data. This helps us to take the decisions. It also maintains the customer relationship, but MRP is not at all considering the relationship of the customer, but ERP is going to consider the relationship with the customer management. Then ERP is considering the supply chain, whereas MRP2 is not at all consider the supply chain. The objective of this MRP2 is to produce the articles. It considers some data, market demand, but supply chain means considering the or enhancing the satisfaction of the customer is not considered. Then HR data, human resource, it is not considered. Then enterprise asset tracking. So MRP2 is not at all tracking the asset information of the industry or organization. Then ERP is going to consider the marketing automation. Means MRP2 is not taking the automation information, not considering the automation information. ERP is considering the marketing automation information. Then ERP is also considering the project management information, how we are managing the project. Suppose if you get an order of 100 crores or 50 crores project, then we are calling it as a project. Then how do you manage that project to meet that scheduled dates, and how much amount of raw material is required specific to that project? So all that information is going to be addressed in ERP. In ERP, MRP1 and MRP2 lies. MRP1 and MRP2 lies in ERP. MRP1 lies in MRP2. So this picture gives us very good clear information one above the other. I repeat this once again. MRP1 and MRP2 lies in ERP. MRP1 lies in MRP2. The information which is not considered in MRP1, the issues which are not addressed in MRP1 will be addressed in MRP2. The information which is not considered in MRP2, which is not able to address the issues, those issues are the information will be considered in ERP, enterprise resource planning. When it comes to the concept we are already discussed with that diagram. ERP will look for the business benefits in 4 areas. Basically, ERP will look for the business benefits in 4 areas. One is it can be used as a catalyst for business innovation. If this ERP can be used as a catalyst for innovation work in any of the organization, then this ERP is also look for the benefit, such as it can be used as a platform for business process efficiency. By using ERP, ERP can be used as a platform to improve the efficiency of the business process. This is also one benefit in any of the manufacturing organization or any of the business which is going to implement ERP. We look for this to improve the business process efficiency. Definitely, any of the industry, any of the business organization will look to improve the process efficiency, business process efficiency. Maybe sometimes the organization will also look to innovate something which can be used, ERP can be used as a catalyst or not. The business will look for that to innovate the new things. Then it can also be look for ERP can also look whether the ERP can be used as a vehicle for process standardization. Any of the business process or business organization will also look for standardizing the process involved in that organization, whether ERP is useful to standardize the process involved in that organization or not, whether this ERP can be used as a vehicle, means can any of the business can use this ERP to move forward to standardize the process involved in that organization. Then the fourth one is IT cost savings. If any of the business organization implements ERP, it will also look for the cost savings of the IT sector. Most enterprises will focus on the last two areas. The other one is, can we standardize the business process? Is there any cost savings by implementing this ERP? Most of the industries or the business organizations will look for these two, but most of the organizations most of the organizations are not going to consider these first two, but these two also very important for any of the business organization. They have to look for the business innovation, they have to look for the they have to look to improve the business process efficiency in any of the aspect. These four are if any of the business organization implements ERP, they will look for these 4 points. When it comes to the functions of ERP, ERP is going to support the integrated business process. It improves the capital planning and helps in executing organization plans and strategies. It helps in taking the decisions, and it helps in taking the decisions while move forward. If you have any strategy to move forward while taking the decisions, ERP is extremely useful. It also helps in executing the plans. Of course, it also helps in uh, improving the capital planning, finance capital planning. Then it also helps in speed up the decision making process, because everything is in your hand, the processed data is in your hand, accurate data is in your hand, so that you can take the decision in very quick way. It also extends the business network to wider domains. This ERP helps to improve the business in other domains also, expanding the products and services to reach more customers and suppliers and partners. When we have ERP, it helps us to improve the business in other domains, expanding the products and services to reach more customers, suppliers, and partners. Let us see ERP in a diagram. This diagram shows the concept of ERP. As we are already discussed that the business involved, the business activities involved in any of the organization will be stored at one location, and that data will be processed, and that data will be shared to all the activities involved in the business process, so that to take the decisions in a quick way or within a short span of time. This you have this business process entirely, this lies between customer and supplier. In turn, you can say that ERP is going to lie between customer and supplier. That means ERP is going to address the issues in between the customers and suppliers. Any of the issue lies between customer and supplier will be addressed by ERP. So that ERP is lying above the ERP is going to lie above the MRP2. So that in MRP2, MRP2 and MRP1 lies in ERP. This is what the concept of ERP. As we have already discussed that central database is going to consider the sales distribution data, service applications, then corporate reporting. Of course, you can get any of the report whenever you want from the central database. the report is analyzed report or processed, the report will be generated. In turn, we can say that the report will be generated on the processed data, on the central database. By processing, we can get the corporate report. Then it considers the financial applications, manufacturing applications, then inventory management data. It also interacts with the human resource management. This central database is going to connect all the business operations involved in any of the organization. This is what the overall concept of ERP. I repeat this once again. Enterprise resource planning is going to address all the business activities involved in from the customer to the suppliers. When it comes to the advantages of ERP, ERP is going to save the time and expenses. It allows faster decision making, as we are already discussed that you have processed data so that you can take, or you have analyzed data, you have statistical data, so that which helps in taking decision in very quickly. Then you have a single data source, yes, central database, and sharing that data among all the units of an organization, yes, tracking every transaction, so that takes place in an organization from start to end. ERP is going to track every transaction that takes place in the organization. So this tracking definitely helps us while taking the decisions. It supplies real-time information. We are tracking, we are interacting with the central database. Every activity in the organization is going to access the central database. We are uploading and we are taking the data from the central database by tracking the actual information, so that we can get the real-time information whenever we want. It provides the synchronized information by transferring between different functional areas. That means it provides the synchronized information, means processed information in a synchronized way by transferring the data between different functional areas. Let us see the disadvantages of ERP. Sometimes the business processes critical to an organization are to be re-engineered to align them with an ERP solution. Sometimes business is going to process the critical information to an organization are to be re-engineered. Sometimes if you process the data, sometimes there is a need to reprocess the data. There is a lot of information in the business process, that lot of information in any of the business organization, that information needs to be processed. According to that, that needs to be re-engineered. Okay, that is also one disadvantage of ERP. The cost of complex integration can be very high. So that means ERP, to implement ERP, this is complex to integrate with the business. Directly we cannot implement this ERP. The business people in any of the software cannot be implemented directly to any of the organization. The business people, this software or package developers will go to the on-site of any of the business. They will read the business process. According to that, they will customize. The software people will customize. The package people will customize and write the programs according to the needs of the organization. What I mean to say is, directly we cannot implement any of the software to any of the organization. We need to customize that software according to the needs of the organization. So switching from one ERP solution to another increases the implementation cost even further also. Suppose you are using ERP one software here now. After 5 years or 10 years, you will get one more software which may not be addressed today's issues. That means you have some issues today in ERP1 which are not addressing now. That will be addressed by another ERP software whenever you want to implement that software. So you have to switch this ERP1 to extended ERP. In that case, so there are a lot of expenses. End user should be trained for their daily operations. Definitely, suppose we have a firm, we are implemented ERP, we must have trained personnel to use this solution, ERP solution or ERP software. Any of the organization which uses this ERP software must have the trained people to use this software or the solution. That also increases the cost of the organization. Customization is not preferred because everything is standardized once you implement this software. So customization is somewhat difficult. Let us discuss the SAP. SAP stands for Systems, Applications and Products. This is one of the leading ERP software available in the market now. As I said just now, SAP stands for Systems, Applications and Products in Data Processing. This is an enterprise resource planning software. As I said just now, SAP lies under ERP software. This is from the company of SAP AG. This is from the Germany. SAP is neatly integrated business software to process all the functionalities of an organization to obtain a unified solution. This SAP is neatly integrated business software. You have one written software in which you have all the programs, all the information which can be used by the any of the organization. Not ready-madely, we need to customize that according to the needs of the customer. The SAP people will come to the on-site of the any of the business. They will read the business. According to that, the software people will generate the functional specifications. Then according to those functional specifications, the technical people will write the code to implement any of the software. That happens in the case of SAP also. What I mean to say is, as I said just now, SAP is not implemented directly to any of the organization. Directly we cannot use this software by purchasing. This software needs to be implemented to the organization by customization to get the unified solution. SAP is used in large or the medium-sized enterprises to integrate the process across the various functions. That means SAP is used in large and medium-sized organizations, but not the small-size organizations. Each function is handled by the respective module of SAP. That means SAP is having different modules. SAP is having different module. Each module is going to address or come across or resolve the issues in the organization. Suppose you have material management. Your organization is having materials management. In SAP, we have the material management module, MM module. This SAP is going to the material management involved in the organization is linked to the MM module of SAP. So that we can see in this figure. As I said just now, SAP is having different modules such as sales and distribution. Sales and distribution is one of the important activity of any of the organization. In short, we can call this as SD module. This is one of the module in SAP. This module is going to address the activities, is going to deal with the activities of the sales and distribution of the organization. Then you have other module that is FICO, finance and controlling. This FICO is going to deal with the data related to the financial accounting and controlling. This is going to deal with the financial accounting and control the finance also. As I said just now, this is also having material management. This is going to deal with the functions of the materials, and it is going to manage warehouse management. You have different modules that we can see in this figure. FICO, finance and controlling, here it is showing different, but FICO is one module now. Asset accounting, funds management, then you have SD module, material management, project systems, then plant maintenance, human resource, HR, all these lies under basic system. This is R3 system, release 3, tier 3 system. This can also be called as a tier 3 system. This is the system architecture of SAP. The latest version of SAP HANA, the latest version of SAP is SAP HANA, which was released on April 8th, 2019 by SAP. This empowers all the business users to make confident, intelligent decisions fast. I mean, this SAP will help us to take the decisions or to take the intelligent decisions within a short span of time. And this SAP also make the business people confident. It is an inbuilt memory, column-oriented, rational database management system developed and marketed by SAP. Let me move this one more thing, that is chronology of development in the integrated softwares from the inventory to the ERP. In 19, inventory control package was developed in 1960s. After that, material requirement planning, MRP1, was developed in 1970. MRP2 was developed in 1980s. Then you have the ERP, Enterprise Resource Planning. This was developed in 1990. Then we have extended one. This was developed in 2000s. With this, I close the session. In the next session, we will discuss the numerical control, features of ANSI system. We will also discuss the advantages and limitations when comparison with the conventional systems. We will also discuss the layout of ANSI system. Finally, we will discuss the functions of each component of ANSI system. Thank you one and all for your patience.